Right, boys and girls, onto a bit of screen time with the FendtOne control layout. I mean, as you can see already, we are doing a bit of a different job now. We're doing a bit of stubble cultivation just to mix things up a bit. I find when you're sort of trying to get to know stuff like this, it's always good to do a couple of different jobs at least. That way you can sort of play with the screen, set the screen up, set the controls up. And if you've never been a Fendt operator before, I think overall, so far, what we've found is, I think this caters a lot more for operators and drivers that have never driven Fendt equipment before. It's just a bit more, I suppose you could say, it's a bit more industry standard. That might be the phrase. It's just a bit more intuitive, a bit more predictable, you might say, as to what everything's going to do. So, screen-wise, in terms of what you get, now I hinted at in the first part of the video that when you go from spec to spec, so when you're jumping from Power to Power Plus, which is what this one is, up to Profi, then Profi Plus, the most visual changes between the lot are in the cab and what you get screen-wise, control-wise. So Power spec, you just get the 10-inch screen on there. This is Power Plus, and this is where this comes into play. And then once you get onto Profi and Profi Plus, you then get the option of that third terminal up here, or the second 12-inch touchscreen terminal. And then in terms of what that third screen can do, it's basically a totally independent screen from these two, especially from this one. And you can set it up exactly how you like, and it can show exactly what you want. So it's not just this replicated or just an extension of what's on this main screen here. You literally use that to do anything you want. Like I say, it's a totally independent screen. Put on whatever there you want. Right, so in terms of a bit of detail on the screen, so we'll start with this one. The main touchscreen terminal. Bit of a redesign as to what was there before. You'll notice it's very much tablet-like compared to what the old screen was, and those physical controls from the side, they've disappeared, and they are kind of replicated down here. Sort of what you find in a high-end car with a big sort of rotary dial to help you navigate and whatnot. In terms of navigation of the screen, getting about it, you can touch it, you can swipe it, you can then tap on a tile and make things bigger and dive into your settings and whatnot, or you can flick through the pages like this using this rotary dial like that, side to side, and then you can then click on a tile like that, and then once you're into settings such as this, spills, you can either touch the screen like this, swipe them up and down, alter your flows like that, up and down, there we go, nice and simple, alter timings, all the usual stuff really, or you can use the rotary dial again. As you can see, once you get on the one you want, tap it, and then just wind her up and down like that. So there's several ways, well there's a couple of ways obviously, that you can adjust and navigate the screen. Like I say, either touching it and swiping it, and or using the rotary dial. I mean, the rotary dial, as we know with a lot of physical controls on tractors, and when you're trying to alter and navigate the screen on the move, the rotary dial is always helpful because you can just like plant your hand there and, you know, move around it. So if you go back to the main screen like that, like I say, you can either swipe through the pages like that and then tap on the tiles and then go into those particular settings, or you can use this dial and click on one of the tiles, one of the pages, to adjust things. So wearing all the engine transmitting settings there, altering your cruise speeds, and then while you're in one of these pages, you can actually flick to the side and you go to that next tile, what would be the next tile on screen, and you go into that setting. So we're now in the rear linkage settings there, and then go on to the next one. You got the lighting there, hydraulics there, climate control in there, setting up all your features and functions on the switches and buttons and all that lot, setting up how you want all the buttons on your main joystick as well. So there's many ways you can do this. So if we come back out of there again, you know, using the physical controls, we can just go like that and we can get back to the page we're at. So, I mean, navigation wise, they've kind of catered for quite a few different styles, different tastes of doing it, I suppose you could say. And then there's a few nice little shortcuts as well. So all these icons are right across the top of the screen, and all the icons right across the bottom. You can touch any of those as well, so such as this, the cruise speed. We tap on that, brings you up to that engine transmission page again. So you've got multiple access points for key key bits of setup. And then in terms of what you actually see on screen, so there's no sort of home screen as such. It's a lot more like if you are setting up your iPad or other tablet or whatever, and you have icons for each app. So it's a lot like that. So each one of these tiles is basically like an app. So tap on that, that's all your engine and transmission settings just there. Come back out of that, that's all the rear linkage settings just there. So think of them more as apps. Now as for all these tiles and apps or whatever you want to call them, you can basically customize these pages to exactly how you like. So we've got 4 pages set up at the moment, and if you kept swiping, you just keep going round and round and round. But you can customize what you see and how you want to use it. So the hamburger at the top, the 3 lines basically, you got the overview. Oh, hang on. So the hamburger at the top, we'll try that one again. So we've got the overview manager there. As you can see, you get the page replicated, but it's a bit smaller. And then you got all your, basically all your features and functions, or apps if we're going to keep using that term. And you can, and you can just keep scrolling through the pages. In fact, we've got a gap there. So we've got that there, and we could put in, I don't know if you want to see your engine functions, we'll pop that in there like that, and there it is, it's in there again. Or we could just delete that out of there. And then if you keep going to the end, you come up with a blank page. So you can make a 5th page if you like. So if I select, so if we slide along here, so I can put in a universal terminal there, so if I had an Isobus implement like that, but if I want it to be a little bit bigger and take up more tiles, you can do that. There we go. So once you've built 4, it makes it bigger. So once that's done, there we go, that's my 5th page now. It's the universal terminal. So if I did have an Isobus compatible implement, there it would be, a bit bigger than just one of those single tiles. So as you can see, it's pretty customized. Well, it's very customizable, very flexible. I mean, on the surface of things, I mean, like the whole of this FendtOne control layout, you think, oh, that is just a touch. That's a bit over-facing, is that? It's a bit of a shock to the system. Like I say, once you get into it, same with the buttons and the switches, same with the joystick. Once you study it a little bit, you do really quickly get into it. And I'm not just saying that. Genuinely, you really do just quickly get into it. If you are of the iPad generation, you will get this, because it just has that iPad feel and that functionality and that ability to customize each page and move the tiles around, move the functions, move the apps, whatever you want to call it, move them around, customize, put them where you want. Granted, you're still going to get operators out there that probably still hate this stuff and still want to swing off a spool lever, but probably this tractor ain't for them. But for those that are into this stuff, I think you'll love it, and it is so much better than the previous generation of Fendt controls. Granted, that was great at the time, and it served Fendt well. It's done a good decade, I think. But like everything, it just gets to its limit. It just gets to capacity. It just gets full, basically, with what it can cope with, kind of like ourselves, which I think I've said before on other videos. And this is just a great replacement for that, and it's a great natural replacement as well. It's a great evolution. And as you are setting up these tiles and apps, like I say, you can make it bigger per page like that. Some apps, like answering the phone, they only need the 1 tile, and it knows that, and it'll say, well, why are you trying to put 2 tiles in when you only need 1? So it does prompt you to say, well, actually you can have 4 tiles, you can have 2 tiles, it'll come up this shape or whatever. So some nice little prompts in there, and it does help you out. And as I mentioned, the amount of layers to get to stuff that you need to set up, it's just completely stripped back compared to what there was before. Granted, you could go to town on how many pages you put on this. I mean, I've got 5 now. You could have 1, you could have 2, 3, 4, whatever. Depending on what you want to do. But it's all on 1 layer then. You just slide through it, find the bit you want, tap on it, see it, adjust it. That's it. So kind of just pretty much 1 entry point per lot of setups, really. Now as for something like a home screen, like I say, there isn't really a home screen.